From KGW, this is The Good Stuff.
I'm an artist. I'm creative. I love woodworking because it's whatever I want it to be.
Tonight on The Good Stuff, a local man finds passion and purpose out of a painful past. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Deidre Johnson. We're headed to Washougal, where you'll meet a man, and he's an artist that's beaten the odds. In this edition of Pacific Storyland, Catherine Cook and photographer Kurt Austin show us his story, his work, and his life, and how he's giving people a vision of what's possible.
Every morning,
I do have a really vivid visual imagination.
John Furness opens up a world of possibilities.
Yeah.
Each one is different.
I believe this is poplar.
Some are a bit rough.
I'll just set it in the tray here.
Yes, thank you.
Others may feel out of place.
This one is called Paduke, and then the other two are maple. Yeah.
But John takes them all and visualizes bowls and trays, wooden works of art.
And I'm not sure of the design yet,
Things others might not see.
because that's in his mind, so.
Broken pieces
Sight and vision are two very different things.
that together make something beautiful.
Well, that's easy enough.
It's easy now.
It's as if I was born when I became blind. Yeah, absolutely.
But John's journey to this place
It's meant for me to be who I am.
was anything but easy.
Yeah.
When he was 16, John struggled with severe depression and anxiety. He lost his will to live and tried to end his life. He survived, but lost his sight.
It's something that I talk about because I know it helps people, but it's also something that I try not to have define me. I'm John. I'm not a suicide attempt. I'm all the events that came together to make me who I am today. Right.
And that is the blind woodsman.
People ask why I wear safety glasses. And I tell them, yeah, I'm blind, but my face is still made of face. Okay.
2 years after losing his sight, John learned woodworking through a vocational rehab program in Utah.
At first I was like, okay, that sounds a little dangerous, but I've always been adventurous and I've always really had a passion for just craftsmanship. Now, we're ready.
He uses adaptive tools like this manual drill.
Yeah, these things are awesome. I got this when I got my gear for rebuilding pianos.
That was 10 years ago. It was the first time we met John, clean shaven and everything.
Sometimes you're using a sledgehammer and sometimes you're using a little tiny screwdriver.
He'd moved to Vancouver to learn how to repair pianos.
They come in all ragged and dirty and broken up, and they leave sounding and playing and looking beautiful.
One day, a local artist dropped by the repair school to help with a fundraiser.
And this is the day we met. So
Her
this is the
name
day we
was
met.
Annie.
I look up and there's this so handsome man with big dimples, and the rest is history after that.
They've been married 12 years now.
I wouldn't be the blind woodsman without Annie.
It's true. As John's interest in piano repair waned,
Every piano is the same 11,000 parts. And so it was too repetitive. Okay.
Annie bought him a turning lathe like this one for his birthday.
She encouraged me to do what I do best. I'm an artist. I'm creative. I love woodworking because it's whatever I want it to be.
The works of art John creates
Magic fingers.
defy logic.
My hands are my eyes.
A process so intrinsic to him now,
Everything is by feel.
it's sometimes hard to tell where John ends and his creations begin.
people sometimes will say it's sad that John can't see his own work, but in reality, he says, he likes to say, we see what he sees.
Yeah,
And I love that.
yeah.
I just dig this part right here with
Further proof
It's really neat.
that you can't judge a book by its cover, unless it's this one. The Blind Woodsman, one man's journey to find his purpose on the other side of darkness.
I'm the subject, but she's the author. I gave her the raw ingredients and she baked the cake.
A publisher reached out to the couple last year after seeing their videos on social media. The book comes out March 19th.
And we
Oh,
opened
yeah.
it, I was like, it's real. Because all last year it was just like, blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah.
They hope their story will help dispel the stigma around mental health
Yep.
and maybe save a life.
Now becomes then, and tomorrow will be today. And if you can really hold that true in your heart and really know that that's true, then it can carry you through some pretty tough times. Yeah.
As for how John and Annie's story ends in real life,
Happy ever after?
they're still drafting it.
We joke around about when our time is done, we'll be walking on the beach and we'll both get struck by lightning, and then an eagle will fly by and whisper our names.
For now, there's too much living to do
I try to choose happiness whenever I can.
and too much beauty to visualize.
Great job, babe.
Thank you very much, honeybee.
Just close your eyes and you'll see it. In Washougal, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
What a great story. Well, Catherine would love to hear your ideas for Pacific Storyland. You can text her at 503-226-5088. Or if you want to email, you can email her at pacificstoryland@kgw.com. Well, spring officially begins in under an hour, and it's been a beautiful end to the winter. Take a look at this video of the sun coming up over Multnomah Falls just yesterday. Hopefully you've enjoyed the warm weather over the past few days. And we asked you on Facebook to share, how have you been enjoying these warm days? Alan says he's been hanging out on the Vancouver waterfront. It looks so gorgeous out there. What a great shot. And Anna says she's been spending time in the yard with Jesse, their bearded dragon. Well, I bet he loves, of course, the sun. And Julie sent in this adorable photo of Connor. She says he's working hard mowing the sidewalk. Oh, so cute. And Teresa's little one just had a birthday on Sunday. Well, happy birthday. And they celebrated at the park. Zyron was checking out the cherry blossoms on the Capitol Mall in Salem. Ooh, it looks so cool. And then so was Monica. She checked out the night viewing of the blossoms on the Capitol Mall. The event happens from 6 to 10 each night through April 6th. And you can share your photos and stories of the good stuff happening in your community by texting 503-226-5088 or email us at thegoodstuff@kgw.com.
Your 2024 Rose Festival Ambassador is Maribel Franco Morgado!
Well, Mari Franco Morgado was named one of the princesses of this year's Rose Festival court. She's a senior at David Douglas High School in Southeast Portland. She's the class treasurer, part of the women's wrestling team, and a member of the Latino Student Union and the Latino Network. After graduation, she plans to become a travel nurse. Congratulations to Mari. Coming up, the show displaying amazing works of art from Black artists in Oregon that's also raising money for the Portland Art Museum. But first, let's check out this live view as the sun sets over the Dalles. The Portland Art Museum is expanding, and with that comes fundraising. A local artist is stepping up to help in a unique way. John Goodwin has more.
Every project we do is completely different from anything we've done before.
At Malauni Printing in Northwest Portland, art comes to life.
And it's really very rewarding to work in traditional processes that really haven't changed in hundreds of years.
Paul Malauni runs this fine art printing studio with business partner Harry Schneider and studio manager Cassie Ferguson.
It's all done by hand, and we're running it through the press under extraordinary amount of pressure. And the paper is damp, so it pushes down into the incised or etched areas of the copper and pulls up the image.
It's kind of like one of those important part in history that has been ignored.
World-renowned artist Otis Kwaku was born in Ghana but now calls Portland home. He's talking about his latest piece, the one rolling through the press.
The print that we're doing with Otis is a traditional etching on copper plate.
I've always been a big fan of the Western movie and a cowboy especially.
It's a self-portrait of Otis as a cowboy, part of his series highlighting the forgotten history of black cowboys and cowgirls. This self-portrait is anything but self-centered.
The museum inspired me a lot first time when I moved to Portland, Oregon. It was the first place I went to see different kind of art. It was the first place that I discovered a lot of artists that I have never seen before that continue to inspire me today.
When I look at his work, I see power.
John Goodwin with the Portland Art Museum knows Otis well. One of his paintings is part of the show Black Artists of Oregon, running through March 31st.
It's the very first time that we've ever put together an exhibition like this.
Malauni Printing is producing 50 prints. 31 have already been sold. All the proceeds go directly to the museum.
Every single dime goes to the Portland Art Museum, and it's really powerful for a young local artist to be willing to give back to the museum that way.
The next 9 prints are on sale for $4,000 and the final 10 for $4,500.
This is my home now, and I feel part of this community. I feel part of this state. So it's my way of just giving back to where I live.
John Goodwin, KGW News.
Such a great way to give back. Well, dinosaurs are taking center stage thanks to a new exhibit at OMSI. Well, of course, the display is called Tyrannosaurs Meet the Family. The museum says the exhibit will give you a unique view of one of the most feared dinosaurs. You can see actual fossils and 3 life-sized skeletons. The exhibit is open until September 8th. For more information on ticket prices, go to omsi.edu. Well, the Persian New Year starts tonight. Coming up after the break, we talk to one local man spreading the word about the event that's celebrated by ethnic groups around the world. And here's another cool sunset view. Just check that out. This one from the Reserve Golf Course in Aloha. Well, today marks the start of the Persian New Year. The celebration called Nowruz means News Day. It begins at 8 p.m. Here's more on the big celebration that's enjoyed around the world. Christine Pitawanich has everything you need to know.
Here in studio with me, I have Babak Shakiri. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be back.
Happy to have you. So Babak is part of the Portland Persian community, also a local author. We'll get to your book here in just a moment. But first, for people who are unfamiliar with Persian New Year, which starts tonight and runs for 13 days, can you give us a little bit of an idea of what it is?
So Persian New Year is just the opportunity for us to say goodbye to the previous year and welcome in the new year. Spend time with friends and family. We put out what we call our half scene.
Half scene, what is it? And I assume everything has kind of a symbolic meaning here.
Yes, so half scene translates to 7 things that start with S. So all these things are the 7 sacred things that start with S that symbolize different things. For example, we have a flower that symbolizes the arrival of spring, grass that symbolizes growth, money that symbolizes prosperity, books that symbolize wisdom, and a bunch of other things as you see here.
Okay, and what's like at the heart of this? I mean, do a lot of people go out? Do they spend time with their families indoors?
Basically, it's just 13 days of hanging out with your family and friends. You visit like your elders. It kicks off with Charshamba Suri, which is where you basically say goodbye to the previous year. That also is where you're hanging out with the community and you're jumping over little fires, kind of is saying goodbye to the new year and dropping the bad from the previous year into the fire.
Oh, interesting. Okay, and what's super cool is I know you just came out with a new, is it a children's book?
Yes.
About Nowruz, which is Persian New Year. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have 2 adorable nephews and I was trying to find gifts for them, and I kind of just had this great idea of like writing a book that they could in the future reference to as far as when they're talking to their friends about Nowruz.
Wow, okay, so if maybe you want to get in on the Persian New Year celebration, you can always head to a celebration happening this Saturday. It's at Portland State University. It's being hosted by students on campus there. It's free for PSU students, general admission tickets, $10. You see all the information you need to know on your screen. Babak, thank you again for coming in, talking a little bit about Persian New Year, Nowruz.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
That celebration sounds so fun. Well, happening now, a competition to choose the best brewery in Oregon is down to the final 2. The Oregon Beer Showdown, created by our partners at the Portland Business Journal, allows you to pick the best of the best. The field of 64 is now down to the Fort George Brewery and Freem. Fort George is the 7th largest craft brewer in the state. It's based in Astoria. Freem is the 5th largest brewer and hails from Hood River. Neither has won the showdown before. If you want to vote for the winner, check out our link on kgw.com. Voting ends on Sunday. Still to come, a wildlife rescue, how a moose got a helping hand when it got stuck in some piping. And the KGW Great Food Drive is going on now. We just met our goal of collecting enough donations to provide meals, about 1 million meals, which is amazing. Last year, the Oregon Food Bank distributed 87 million meals. To help, you can give online at kgw.com/food drive. And all this week, Pacific Foods will match the first 5,000 donated. We also want to thank Rivermark Credit Union, Pacific Office Automation, Safeway, and local Toyota dealers for making this year's drive a success. Here's a great story. A moose was rescued earlier today in northeast Washington. Fish and Wildlife staff had to remove a piece of PVC pipe from its leg. Community members spotted it limping and called the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. The moose had to be tranquilized, but staff members were able to remove the pipe safely. Well, it's time to get out your binoculars because Spring Whale Watch Week is back. Of course, every year around this time, gray whales travel from Alaska along the Oregon coast down to Mexico. Volunteers will be at the watch sites along our coastline to help visitors spot the whales and answer any questions. The event starts next Saturday and lasts until the 31st. For more information, go to orwhalewatch.org. That's all the time we have. Thanks for watching The Good Stuff. We leave you with some photos of how you've been enjoying this wonderful warm weather. Have a good night.